Today I'm going to be doing a bit of work on the Talbot, and I'm going to be doing a rear brake service. So I've got the vehicle on level ground and I've placed an axle stand underneath just to be doubly sure. I've got the handbrake on at the minute, and you will need a 12mm spanner just to undo these. So now I'm going to release the handbrake. I do actually have the vehicle in gear just to steady it, but it shouldn't be going anywhere as we're on level ground. So hopefully the drum should come away with a few good taps of the hammer just to loosen things off, send a few shock waves into it. If you are struggling, there are 1, 2, 3 threaded holes there which you can find some bolts to wind in, and that will pull the hub off. And that has come off, so it's nice and loose, so we'll remove it. All seems to be in reasonable order there, there's a reasonable thickness on the lining, so we're not going to be renewing them in a hurry. And this video, the object of it is, it's just like an overall service. So the condition of the inner surface in the drum looks really good to me. I think what we'll do is we'll just do a clean up and put things back together, followed by an adjustment. So what I was taught to do was just free up these shoes, just get a hammer, hit the steel part, just go down and then up. Never hit the friction surfaces. That'll clean any corrosion off, and do the same both sides. So with the shoes tapped down, we can take a wire brush, clean this up, and then we're going to give it a good smearing of copperies just to minimise the wear on the backing plate. We do this side, that side, and underneath ×2. So I'll take a screwdriver with a bit of copperies on, and I'll just work it in just here, and it should preserve the surfaces of the backing plate. So then we give the underside the exact same treatment. And we'll give this area a clean up either side. And a tiny bit of copperies just on the top there, both sides of the brake cylinder. So I've just worked a bit of copperies in there. There's a bit of excess I'm going to remove, and then to work it all in, the lubrication, what we've done. Okay, so we've tapped the brake shoes up and down a bit to work that in, and there's just one more check to do to make sure all is good. We get a screwdriver cleaned of copperies, we just put it in there in the back plate, and then we're going to put some force in this direction. And what we're going to do is we're going to check that this piston moves. Did you see that shoe move there? I'll do the other side. So we can move it both ways, so we know that the brake cylinder is nice and free, so all should be working as well as designed. So I'm just going to clean the friction surfaces up with an old bit of sandpaper I've got. This is 120 grit. Don't want to do anything too abrasive, but it'll just clean it up quite nicely, ready to reuse. We're not losing any friction material, we're just cleaning up. Also, don't be breathing the dust from the friction material in, wear a mask. So now we'll turn our attention to the hub, and what we're going to do, we're just going to give it a sanding in here, and clean it all up. We're going to clean the outside surface too, as we don't want that making a noise by rubbing on the back plate. We want to flatten that, knock that back to shiny steel, and give the inside a good sanding. This one is actually in really good shape. I've done a lot worse than this. One tool I do use to get rid of really thick corrosion is a twisted knot wire wheel on an angle grinder. So this tool really does make light work of any corrosion. So it's goggles on and crack on. So I spent quite a bit of time cleaning the internal surfaces of the drum, really getting in each corner, and you can see there's, I'm not sure what's caused that, but we're going to live with it. I also cleaned the external lip here, and just to prevent any build up of rust rubbing on this back plate. I've cleaned any excess copperies, and now we're at the stage of refitting. So the shoes, they're currently hammered down as we've worked the copperies in by moving them back and forth. So what we need to do now is centralise the shoes. And then that'll give us the best chance of refitting the brake hub. Before reassembly, I've sprayed a bit of WD-40 in there on the self-adjusting mechanism, which can be adjusted for first time use just by putting a screwdriver through there, nice flat blade, and then going up or down as required. Obviously when we're going down on this cylinder, we are actually tightening it. We are pushing the shoes outwards, and this is the right side cylinder, or the offside as we'd say in the UK. So we've refitted the hub, and all should be more or less frictionless. There's a bit of friction in there, and when you refit, you may have to back off the adjuster ever so slightly to facilitate the refit. There shouldn't be too much friction going on. So we've nipped these bolts up here, and now one thing we are going to do, we're going to go to the cabin and fully depress the brake pedal. So what that does is it gets the shoes in their working position, and then just gently rotate this, and it should be nice and free. You can hear a bit of a bind in it. So what we're going to have to do is adjust that bind out, because we don't want any binding of these brakes, as it's going to generate heat in the drums, it's going to expand, and it's not going to end very well. So that requires further adjustment. So we've now adjusted the bind out, which is great because we're not wasting any brake linings, or worse of all, generating heat, which can lead to failure and breakdowns, and it can be quite catastrophic. So do get this right. If you do want to adjust it, you can go up there, put a screwdriver in there. If you align that eyelet up with the top, pointing the sky, it's about right. Okay, I'm just left with a tiny little bind, so I'll get my trusted screwdriver. I can feel the arm. So I'm going to have to press in quite hard, and then we'll just adjust it up one click. See if the bind's still there. You can just hear it slightly. So what we'll do, we'll press the foot brake and see if it disappears, and we'll keep repeating this till we've got the shoes adjusted up to the max without hearing any binding. Okay, we're just putting the wheel back on now, and I have actually got the brakes adjusted within around 3 teeth on the adjuster between a bind and knot, so that should be fine. That's as close as I want to go. Many thanks for watching, and why not subscribe to learn of more low cost repair solutions.